Yeah.
All right. So naturally, I like to start things at the beginning. So why don't you just tell me a little bit about where you're born and what life was like for you growing up?
Yeah, so I was born in Mississauga, Ontario, and growing up was a pretty standard childhood. We played a lot. We grew up with our family. We did a lot of outdoor sports, beaches, and yeah, we just had a lot of fun. And it was a really, really great experience. And I just remember just being really, really happy as a kid.
Hmm. Nice. Very good. Did you play any sports at all or get into like that when you were younger?
Yeah, as a kid, I played softball competitively, and I do recreationally play volleyball, but that's just for fun. But softball would be like my main sport, and I did play on the Milton softball league for a few years, and that was a few years that I really really enjoyed playing with people my age and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun.
Nice. Are you still playing today at all? Like, do you play any rec leagues or anything? Or
Unfortunately, not. It is something that I do want to think about in the future and get back to, but I did take some time off to be with my newborn. So, yeah, we do plan on getting back to it soon once I get adjusted.
yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah. We got a little one of ourselves too. Like
Yeah.
just going on 10 months right now. So I get like life gets in the way, right? There's a lot of things you want to be doing.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, 100%. Okay, and then how were you in school? Did you like? Do you think you were quite studious? Were you performing well as a student, or?
I think I tried to be studious. I think in certain subjects I obviously liked and did well in, just like for anybody kind of thing. I was definitely not good at like the math and the sciences at the time. I kind of more leaned towards like the English and obviously the more creative side of the arts and stuff like that. And at the time, I was actually more in love with music. For people who knew me, who still know me today, and back when I was in high school, I was a part of band. I led a lot of school groups and did a lot of leadership programs. So yeah, that was just a great foundation for me, leading into what I do today for my businesses.
Nice. Okay. And then did you do any post secondary at all after school? Or?
Yeah, I went to the University of Toronto and I got my undergrad. And yeah, and then from there, I just went straight into working, to be honest, for a little bit. But then I was introduced to photography and videography through one of my friends, and that's kind of where I started with that.
Nice. Okay. And what did you take at U of T undergrad?
At U of T, I studied psychology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Right on. You said so more so, I guess, elementary, high school. You said you were in like leadership programs.
Yeah, there was this leadership program for, like the leaders in the school. They would take kind of like the top creative performers, I guess you could say, people willing to do it, and kind of form a group. And we would run initiatives in the schools for other students, like student-led programs kind of thing, after school, before school, and kind of just enhance what the student life in the high school would be like.
Nice. Okay. Very cool. It's a great way to get involved and kind of get other people involved in everything at school too, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Very cool. Nice. Okay. And then career. I just want to say, like, I'm really excited to sit down with you today because what we should say, like, I've known you for a while. You were at one point a bartender at my local after work. I would go and kind of.
I was a bartender in my past life. Yes.
But as long as I've known you, like, you just seem like a really ambitious person. Like, you always kind of got like the next thing you're working on, and
yes, that's right.
You seem very entrepreneurial minded. I hope I pronounced that okay. But yeah, entrepreneurial minded. Like it's, yeah. No, so I'm just excited to talk a little bit about your business right now. So you're in photography and event planning.
Yes, that's right. That's my main thing is photography and videography and doing all major things like weddings, events, obviously, but also dipping into things like portrait photography for families and couples, and also doing things like for businesses like products and headshots for professionals and stuff like that. So I do a little bit of everything. Personally, that's what I like because I like to experiment with different kind of settings and all that stuff. So that's kind of what I've found, like it took me a while to figure out what I really like to do. There's obviously so many ways you can go with photography, but it took me a little bit of time to kind of even narrow it down to those very broad categories that we have right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, I guess like anything, like you kind of play around with it and you kind of find, like, kind of dig out your niche as you go, kind of thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Okay, and then on there's like a event work side of things as well, or is it like
Yeah.
mostly like photography, videography, like the digital side you work on? Like,
Yeah, there is mainly, I would say, photography and videography that we do spend a lot of time on the editing side. I work with video editors, photo editors on my team as well to keep the production going as a full force. My husband also helps me with videography as well, but also we are busy on the other side of things because we do have a part of the business where it's like the photo booth rental business. So we are on the road. We are doing a lot of shoots. We are showing up at events on time, professional, doing all the things we need to do to make the client feel comfortable for their big day. This is their photography, realistically, is the last thing they need to worry about. And that's kind of where we're coming with the service, is that we want to kind of make it easy for whoever hires us to do that for them.
right. Yeah. You kind of take a load off. As you said, yeah, on their big day, there's enough going on that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially weddings, like photography is definitely the last thing they want to worry about. Worrying if the photographer is going to get the shot. That's why you hire a professional who is going to do that. And that is absolutely priceless to so many people.
Right. Yeah. You get someone who's not distracted by anything else, but their full designated job is to just kind of highlight the day, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. So sorry, you mentioned you have other people helping out, your husband as well. Like, how big is the like how many people do you kind of work with?
I would say my team right now is about 4 to 5 people total. Obviously a lot of it is not what you see like facing the brand. Me and my husband are usually the ones out on the road, or doing the talks, doing the interviews, doing the marketing, kind of the front end work. And then you have my photo editor, my video editor, my virtual assistant who helps me with my marketing, not just for my business, but for my marketing business. So it is a little bit of a effort, but those roles are obviously just like online, and I hire people to work from home to do that stuff for me on the back end.
Nice. Okay, great. Okay, so like 4 to 5 people now.
Yeah.
Are you looking to expand? I guess like the goal of any business, I guess, is to grow. But like, I guess, would you like to, I guess, breach outside of kind of the GTA and what you're doing, and eventually grow? Like, hire on more people? Is that kind of where you're headed, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to bring on like really competent people as I expand my business. My photo booth business is something that I am starting this year, and I would love to bring on attendants and helpers and even second shooters. People who are even beginning, who would like to be like I can mentor for those kind of things. Second shooters for weddings, for example, are huge because sometimes it comes down to like availability or how many people needed to get the full coverage, stuff like that. Even between me and my husband, we do a lot of stuff. He takes care of the drone, I take care of the photos, and sometimes even for us too, it's busy. So we might even need extra people for that. But as we get into more like rental business, catering, serving, stuff like that, and we expand the business, we are going to hire on a group of people. And I hope that we hire some good people who could be a part of our journey.
Yeah. Okay, great. So you mentioned a couple times you have like a photo booth. You said you have, I guess, staff kind of helping you out with that. But you put out a photo booth rental, so you're kind of a little bit more hands off for those events, I guess, and you kind of just for the photo booth rental, we have 2 options. Like you have a do-it-yourself option where you just rent the system from us, and that's obviously a little bit of a cheaper option for somebody who's looking for budget-friendly kind of way to go. Or you have us do the full service thing, and that is more for like the weddings and events, people who are looking to have that like stress-free kind of environment, or they're paying that extra for that extra attendant, which are us who are going to run the booth for you and make sure that everything goes smoothly that day. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you got your husband working a drone too. You got quite an operation then too.
Yeah, not bad. But we are a good team, and I like to say like we can kind of get everything done. We can get anything done if we stay organized and planned, and it's all about execution at that point.
Right. Awesome. Yeah. Again, knowing you, like you're the person for the job, that totally makes sense.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. What are some of the challenges that you've kind of faced setting up your photography business, your event planning business?
Yeah, this is a question I thought long and hard about because even it took some time to figure out. But dealing with like life changes, getting married recently over the past 2 years, having a newborn recently, and all those things, and having to kind of work around your schedule, of course, and also make the client happy and availability and things like that. So just dealing with that was really, really difficult. And I did honestly take some time off to do planning for my wedding, my engagement, all that stuff, and also for having the baby, my pregnancy. But I find that that was a little bit of a delay and a little bit of a mistake to kind of take that time off of my business, because I find that restarting it now has been a little bit more of a challenge kind of thing, rather than if I had kept going even part-time kind of thing, just to stay relevant. I think that I would have been in a little bit of a better place today, or kind of thing. But um, no regrets either way. My family absolutely love my husband and my family. They are my number one priority, and I am excited to get back to business either way and roll with the punches.
All right. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, like hindsight's 2020, right? And like, yeah, it's anyone who's starting a business, it becomes a massive part of your life. But then also, you want to have a life still, right? It's all
Exactly,
just a juggling
exactly.
act. Like, yeah, I guess tough. So I guess it was just kind of like the slowdown of momentum of everything, and then
Exactly.
trying to get back in the groove.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's tough for sure. So speaking of life outside, everything you got going on with your beautiful family,
Yeah.
when we're not plugging away at the business, what are we doing on our days off, if we have any?
If we have any, yeah, that's actually a good question. On our days off, we're obviously spending time as a family. I like to spend time at home. I'm a little bit of a homebody. I love to get caught up with work and do that self-care and relax and clean the house and stuff like that. And when we obviously do get a little bit of time, we get out of the house and we go see family, friends, or try to check out a local market to support the businesses that are happening there. Every once in a while, I try and do like either like a free shoot or a discounted shoot for certain businesses that possibly are on a budget, could appreciate it, or anything like that. So
Nice.
I try and leave my community work type of thing for the weekends, obviously based on their availability, if I ever have space in my schedule for those kind of things. But yeah, those are kind of what we do.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah. I mean, it seems like a lot of the business owners that I sit down with too are so supportive of other
Yeah, I
business
love that.
owners like in the community. Like they
Yes.
get it, right? Like they
Yeah.
get the grind and everything, and it's
Absolutely, yeah.
That's awesome. I love that you do that. That's fantastic. So you said a lot of family time, I guess like with extended family as well, or so between you and your husband, do you have a lot of like local
Yeah.
extended family, or are you kind of traveling all over?
It's kind of a mix of both. A lot of my family is here in the GTA, but when it comes to my husband's family, we do travel around a little bit to visit. So we do like that part of our life. It does give us a nice mix because we don't get stuck in the city all the time.
Sure.
And then we get to obviously travel and take that break away from the city with our family and quality time together. So yeah,
Nice to break things up like that.
Exactly, yeah.
So how far are you going? Like whereabouts?
We do stay within Ontario most of the time, and obviously the business is based in Ontario. We obviously have most of our business in Ontario, so we like to stay in Ontario, obviously. But when we do travel, we go to Nova Scotia. It's beautiful out there by the water,
Love the East
obviously.
Coast, yeah. It's
Highly recommended. And we do want to make it out to Australia one day to see my husband's family. But that's kind of our top two places to visit at the moment, and we're really, really excited to make it there one day.
Oh, he's an Australian fella, is he?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, that would be an awesome trip. Just checking out. I would love to go one day. It's a hell of a flight, though.
Oh, I know. That's what we're preparing for, and with a newborn,
Yeah. Maybe wait
Not
till
quite
she gets
sure.
a bit older.
Exactly, something like that.
On that, plans for any more, or are you're sticking with one? You think?
Everybody's been asking.
Yeah. No pressure. Just
no
whatever.
pressure.
Sometimes
at
you don't know,
all,
right? Like
you
it's
know. But yeah, we're not quite sure yet. We kind of do want to have more in a way, like we have discussed it, God willing, of course. But yeah, we would be open to having more kids eventually, just because experiencing the one, when you have one, you just experience so much joy that you just just having another is just,
Mm-hmm.
just so much more joy than that. So I don't know how to explain it,
Right.
but I think all parents can kind of understand that in a way.
Right. Yeah. It's hard to put things like that into words, right? Like
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah. Until you experience it.
Exactly.
Yeah. No. Okay. So, and then back to the business. Where did we come up with the name there? Ava Events.
Ava Events is actually was originally the initials for my siblings, so Anita, Vishal, and Aruna. It spells out Ava Events.
Okay.
And yeah, just obviously added the events and photography, but yeah, that's where the name came from, and it meant to be kind of a family business and something that's going to be around for a long time, and generations, hoping that it continues into the generations for a long time. We're building something here.
Right. Beautiful. I love it. I love the ambition behind that too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then what would you say is next for Ava Events? Like, I know we talked about growth and expansion a little bit. Is there anything else we missed? That are you looking to open other doors or other avenues as far as what you offer?
Not necessarily. We obviously are expanding. We want to expand quickly, as fast as possible, of course. But we obviously want to do that in the right ways. We recently are doing all these new initiatives that are coming up in the next even 6 months to a year. I would say even we're going to be a completely new company by then, with how much growth that we're planning on doing.
Nice.
We have a drone that is underutilized at the moment. I'm always trying to like promote our drone services because I would love to do more with our drone. I think we have a lot of potential there. Obviously with our rental business, and of course like all the other things going on. I'm sure we're going to be very, very busy over the next year, and we're really looking forward to being busy.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, a lot of those drone shots are beautiful. Like what you're able to do with that, like it's yeah, it'd be great to open that up a little bit. And you said, so absolutely. Like new initiatives moving in the future, like anything you can talk about, or is it kind of just like under wraps right now? You're just kind of
I've been experimenting with a couple of ideas on what obviously I think will be successful and obviously work for our brand and stuff like that. We have our photo booth business that's launching for June. Officially, we have a vintage teacup rental business that's also coming. It's actually in the works at the moment. So we're going to start doing teacup parties. So that could be for kids and also for adults. Great for senior homes, bridal parties, bridal showers, bachelorette. All those kind of girly type stuff obviously can accommodate for others, but that's kind of what we're targeting for that. And then we also have our catering and cocktails coming as well, which is our mobile bartending service, which is of course going back to my roots in my past life, but just kind of providing that bartending service mobilely for anybody who needs it for their events. It kind of just makes sense as a complimentary service for our brand.
Right. Yeah. Well, I love that, like catering and bartending for like if you're gonna throw like a big kind of event at your place, it's nice to not have to worry about that, right? Like you got someone who's kind of taking care of that. That's fantastic. Vintage teacups. How did you get into that? Where did that avenue open up?
It's interesting. I don't know. To be honest, I just love all things vintage. Not just me, my husband. That's kind of a thing we have in common.
Yeah. You're a big Antiques Roadshow
fan,
are you? Or?
Very antique. Like we collect and stuff like that. And I actually had a teacup collection of my own. Kind of bought it just as a display item, and it was fun. And then we'd always be out at markets and we see teacups and acquiring them and all this stuff. And lo and behold, before I knew it, I had about 50 teacups sitting in my basement in a closet, not being used. And I said, like, what could I do with this that I can incorporate into my business potentially, and or have the option to potentially sell them, kind of thing, because it was getting a little bit junky in the house to store. Sure. So, but I just said, like, this would be a neat idea if elders, they obviously love their tea and they love the social aspect of it, and communicating with others within the home and stuff. So we go there and we set up the tea party for them. Vendors can choose. We have 20 different varieties of teas that they can choose from. And we just go there, we set up everything. We host a tea party for about 2 hours. And I think people are really going to love it. And we're really, really looking forward to doing that with the community shortly.
Yeah. Nice. Oh, very cool. Like, it was just like, I think a great social event too. Like you have a conversation piece kind of sitting right there while you're doing it. Right.
Exactly.
Like, I think there's definitely a specific market for that. But
It is.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea. That's very cool. Anything we miss at all on Ava Events that you'd like to expand on?
Oh, no. That's all. But
Okay.
I guess the last thing I would mention is that so many people ask me for the social media, like, do I do social media? Because it's just one of those natural questions that when you do photography and videography, people are like, hey, what about the content and the posting part? It just goes along with that. Like, do you help with that, or do you do that? I'm sure you probably even get that sometimes, and I and the answer to the question is that I do that, but it's not necessarily an Ava Events thing that I do. I do the social media thing kind of as a side hustle. It's not an official thing, but that is also something that I do on the side, but it's through my other company called Ace Marketing. And that's just for anybody who's curious. These are my two companies that I run side by side. I am busier at Ava Events for my photography and videography business, because that is my first business that I started, where my clientele is. But for the people and small businesses that do need the help with their social media and marketing, I also offer that as well through my other company.
Yeah, okay. Ace Market. So I'm sure people wouldn't mind either way. It's just under a different umbrella, but it's something
Exactly,
you can provide for them. That's
yeah.
fantastic. Is there anything else you want to mention about Ace Marketing? What you provide through that side of things, or?
It's just like general social media services,
Yep.
obviously, which is could be your Instagram, Facebook, your LinkedIn posting, stuff like that. But we can also get into more technical things. If you have a website, we can do Google Ads, Google SEO, create websites for people, create landing pages, anything you kind of need. I like to deal with the client for that, like on a one-to-one business, because I feel like for every business I have to cater kind of a package for them based on what they need, and we kind of go from there. But that's pretty much, yeah, that's what we do at Ace Marketing, to make sure that like I'm just as invested as the business owner in their growth.
Right. Okay. Very cool. I love that. And yeah, of course, you would have a whole like second thing that you just throw at me. As I said, like, you've always been kind of like that business entrepreneurial mindset person. That's awesome. I love that.
That.
Yeah.
That.
Very cool. Anything we missed overall, or do you have any final thoughts for anyone who might be listening at all? Just inside or outside the business, or just anything you want to share with the world?
No. I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity. I'm so grateful, and you obviously made it super, super comfortable to do the filming today. I'm used to being on the other side of the lens, and that's where I feel comfortable on the other side. So this was definitely a little bit out of my comfort zone in a way, but I think you're doing great work with your podcast, your setup, and just your work that you're doing for the community. It's honestly God's work, and I really, really appreciate that.
Okay. That was a lot of thank you. I appreciate that. But
no problem.
Aruna, I had so much fun sitting down with you today. I appreciate everything there.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a great conversation. Yeah, thanks so much.
No problem. Thank you so much.
All right.